CP24 Radio 1050.
All right, we are back, and in studio this morning, Gary Vaynerchuk, wine expert, founder of WineLibraryTV.com, author of Crush It, Why Now is the Time to Cash In on Your Passion. And he's sitting right here beside me.
Passion.
And we've all got the same passion here this morning, which is wine, of course. But, I want to ask Gary, how did you get started? Like, how did you know that you like wine? What are the roots?
I was born in the former Soviet Union, like I said earlier, and my family came to the U.S., and my dad got a job at a liquor store, and, great American dream,
Unbelievable.
My parents are by far my heroes. Stock boy, manager, that whole nine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Saved up
Love
every
it.
penny. We didn't buy anything ever.
Right.
Which is really great. It's a great foundation for me. I never want anything because I didn't have anything, and it just doesn't.
If you haven't
You've
had it, you
got
don't know what you're
everything,
missing.
though.
And it's funny, I don't ever buy anything, right? I mean, I don't need it. I want to buy $1 billion football team, and that's about it. So
You're saving your pennies for
that's
that.
right. Selling $5 signatures, right? So I was very entrepreneurial. Lemonade stand. I was making $1,000 a weekend selling baseball cards when I was in the 8th grade.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And hockey cards too. Pavel Bure Upper Deck French Canadian cards were a fortune. That was my whole world. And then I turned 15, and Dad dragged me into the liquor store. I got paid $2 an hour to bag ice. I hated it. I used to cry. It was the worst. And then every person one day when I was 16 asked for Caymus Special Select Cab. It was the Wine Spectator Wine of the Year. I finally asked the 20th person, "Why do you want this wine?" He said, "Well, I collect wine." Boom. Oh my God, wait a minute. Pete Rose, Wayne Gretzky, Ken Griffey Jr., Silver Oak, Opus 1, Chateau Latour.
Yeah.
Same stuff. I can do this. So I jumped in heavy, got involved, started reading about it, and it was the collecting part that brought me into the wine world. And then I started reading. I was like, what is Sancerre? And what is Chenin Blanc? And what all these things. And then it changes every year.
Yeah.
For somebody as ADD as I am, that is a very attractive component to the wine world because the speed of it changing every year is fantastic.
Yeah.
And then obviously you guys know this, and I'm sure every listener knows this. There's such a romantic thing about wine. Wine is such a family thing. I love people. This is a product that brings people together.
Now, can I say, Gary, I know that I read somewhere that you had mentioned that you think wine is the new board game.
Yes.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
Well, wow, you did some great research. I feel that wine parties and wine clubs and people getting together and drinking wine is becoming so prevalent throughout this, definitely in the States, and I just see that a lot of people get together. People used to get together back in the day on Friday nights and play Scrabble and those kind of things, which is really neat. And I love that,
Family stuff.
Yes, big time. I love that part of our society, which has gone away as everybody doesn't eat dinner together anymore. And so I love that wine is one of the few products that I see truly brings people together because you drink it to break it down together. Beer you drink socially and it's fun. I love beer and it's cool.
Yeah.
Spirits you drink to get hammered with your buddies. Wine you drink and there's something else going on. You'll never not collectively talk about it.
Yes.
And I think that's something very interesting.
Yeah, it's fun. And the thing about wine too is I find that it sort of brings everything into play. It has art, it's
Chemistry,
art, history,
biology,
chemistry, geography.
culture.
I
it's
failed
the
every
culture.
science class, so that part isn't very exciting for me. But yeah,
Are you making your own wine yet, though, Gary?
Well, I do have a project called Vaynerchuk Cab that I did with Crush Pad in San Francisco, which was a lot of fun. And one day I could definitely see that being a part of my world.
Make your own label.
Yeah, I definitely listen. Again,
After the Jets.
I'm an entrepreneur, right? So I have a lot of brand equity in this space.
Oh, there's a lot of Vaynerchuks out there.
They're out
Gary.
there. They're out there. And so, it's definitely something that's crossed my mind. But at the end of the day, I've got to be passionate about it. I've got to be in that place. I've noticed my parents in their early 50s started getting into gardening and things like that. And so if I follow that DNA and that becomes interesting to me in that part of my life, then I would jump in. I wouldn't do it just for the cash or just because it's easy, because I've got to be really passionate about the farming of it for me to go in. I'm not going to slap my name on a label and let somebody else do the work.
Yeah, you don't have to measure success by money necessarily, right? It's about
that's the whole purpose of this book.
Being happy. It's about doing your passion.
So nobody has spent more time with 90 years old people than me that hasn't worked in a nursing home. I've always gravitated towards my elders. When I was little and grandparents came over,
I love that.
Big
sweet.
thing for me.
That's
Big thing
very
for me.
sweet.
Maybe, I just loved, legitimately, I would be at the playground. Grandparents would come into town, and I would leave and go and sit with them and ask them questions. And I used to think it was because I loved history, because I would always ask them, what happened when JFK got shot? What happened when the moon landing?
Their wealth of knowledge.
Yeah. Well, my family didn't grow up here, so my parents couldn't tell me that. So
You're like a sponge.
Well, I was really intrigued. What I learned from all of them is one thing. None of them wish they made more money. They all wish they spent more time with their family, and they all wish they did something they loved. And because of the internet now, making it really available for people to do that, I want to scream about it. I want to yell at the top of my lungs. That's why I wrote this book. It's why I do the videos. It's why I do keynotes. It's why I'm going to go to school. It's what I want to talk about, because this is the biggest game-changing moment in media of our time.
Yes, it is.
And it's a big deal.
But I have a question. Okay, that's
Please.
fantastic, but you still have to eat. So how do you monetize all that, right? How do you turn it into a bit of a buck that you can survive?
2 ways. We are only in the eyeballs and ears business. If you have users, people want it. If you have people listening, if there was 40 million people listening to this radio show, you'd be making more money. If I had more than 100,000, I had 1 million eyeballs, I'd have bigger opportunity.
So how do we get all those eyeballs and all those ears?
Well, that's the cool part. It's not spending money on bull crap, billboards on the highway, or newspaper articles anymore, or ads. I mean, it's about actually caring about your fan base. It's about you guys sitting here and saying, hey, tweet us or leave a message on our Facebook, but then not just putting it on them when your fans come out and do that for you, for you to then reply to them and actually care and start creating a two-way conversation. You've got to make them your friends, not your fans.
Yeah, that's a good point. Very well said. And I read somewhere that you get about 1,000 emails a day. Is that right?
Yes. I mean,
Holy
as
smokes.
Emma can tell you in the corner, all I've been doing is having my head down the whole way because I've got to stay up with it.
You're
Otherwise,
answering your emails.
I am. And the questions range from, are you really in Toronto right now? Yes. to like, what wine goes with, porcupine? Really? You were eating a porcupine? Well, I would say a Shiraz. It could come from anywhere.
Yeah.
A lot of business questions for me nowadays with the book getting all the attention it's getting. And I just out care everybody.
Now, how long were you working on this book?
Really quick, actually. I dictated it. I'm not a good writer, so I voiced the whole book. And as you can tell, as I'm sitting here with you guys, I can speak fast and fluid and clear. This is what I live. I didn't go to Wikipedia. I'm not reading other people's blogs. I've never read a business book. I'm living this. And when if you guys had to talk about what you're living from day to day, coast to coast, what you eat for breakfast, what you watch at night, you can bang that out in 20 seconds. And it didn't take me very long.
Yeah, true. That's a good point. Now, I know that you've also...
Like that, huh?
I do. I'm impressed.
She is. I can tell.
Because I'm an entrepreneur, too. I love it. I can smell it.
Now, you were on Ellen DeGeneres, who is... I'm a great fan of hers. I'm one of those gazillion fans that she has. And you got her to do some interesting things, I think.
Everything until the eating dirt. I thought I had her. Conan ate the dirt.
I know, I heard.
And everybody asked me, was that a real rock? Was that real dirt? Conan is a baller. That was all real stuff.
That show.
Real stuff. And Ellen was amazing too. We licked the leather.
Yeah.
She tasted the rock. She just would not eat the dirt, which I respect. And it was a lot of fun.
Well, you stayed away from the cat's pee. Oh, excuse me.
Everything but I went everywhere. Dirt, grass, nothing scared me. But cat's pee was like, I can't do it. I remember, I smelled it though.
Yeah.
I was like, some of my friends had some, cats in their, basements. But other than that, those have been great experiences. The Today Show's been great. I've been very fortunate with mainstream media. I get a lot of those.
And now you're on the Wine Lady Show. Hey.
I've made it.
You've arrived.
Totally.
I've arrived. If you really want to call a spade, I've arrived.
Well, thank you, Gary.
You're welcome.
Now, you've made it with the Monster Wine Ladies. You've talked about Monster Oak. I want to hear more about that, but it sounds like we've got to go for a quick break, and we'll learn about it when we get back.
We'll be right back. Don't go away.